Welcome to Listening to Stories on Kevin.tv audiobook channel, Chapter 2903. To see, to know, to remember. The other Mordred, one that was far nicer, safer, and more hollow, glanced at Cassie with a hint of surprise in his mirror-like eyes, or at least that was what Cassie imagined when she heard his voice. She couldn't place a mark on him after all, so all that faced her was endless darkness. Lady Cassia, it is nice to make your acquaintance. Cassie felt like she knew him very well, but she still nodded. Yes, likewise. She lingered for a moment and then said in a neutral tone, I wanted to thank you for keeping Rain company these last few, however long it has been since we arrived. She doesn't show it, but you must know how awfully lonely, anxious, and afraid she is. The other Mordred must have nodded. Yes, naturally, those feelings, I know them well myself. A pale smile appeared on Cassie's lips. Really? Because I'm not sure that I even know what feelings are anymore. She inhaled deeply, then sighed. I guess with everything coming to an end, one way or another, I wanted to have a conversation with somebody as well. Mordred remained silent for a long while. Am I the only option? Cassie smiled. Perhaps he was right about you, about people feeling nice in your company because all they see in you is a reflection of themselves. But what to do? I cannot even see. I wouldn't recognize my own reflection even if I was standing right in front of it. She raised a hand to wipe a drop of blood from her cheek, then lingered for a moment. I get it now, I think, why Ki Song wanted to explain herself to me. There's a kind of solace in being witnessed just before the end. This Mordred, would not know the context, but he seemed to have still understood what she meant, or possibly even what she felt, and you want to be witnessed. By me? A bittersweet smile twisted Cassie's lips. No, far from it. To be honest, I'd rather be forgotten altogether. I do not want your solace. Solace is a sin anyway. Coming from the darkness, his disembodied voice was hiding a hint of surprise now. Then what do you want from me, Lady Cassia? She pretended to look around. Who knows? Maybe I'm simply here to see if there's a way to kill you somehow in case I need to get rid of the King of Nothing in a hurry. He chuckled. I'm not actually here, so that would be a challenge. Besides, you must know that he is watching your every move and listening to your every word. Is it really wise to say these things aloud? Cassie shrugged. What can he do? He needs me. She remained silent for a moment, then added, Yes, I know that he is watching me closely and that nothing escapes him. It would be quite difficult indeed to do something that goes against his will. The other Mordred asked, But why would you want to kill him anyway? I thought that you were allies. Cassie smiled faintly. We were allies. I needed him as well, you see, to buy time for Changing Star and the Lord of Shadows. That time is running out now, so he is of no use to me anymore. On the contrary, by all accounts, it won't do me any good if he does too well in the final battle. What if he wipes out half of all awakened? She shook her head. At this point, it would be better if he suffered a swift and overwhelming defeat. More people will survive that way for longer. At least, a drawn-out battle is the worst possible outcome. So I might betray him after all. There was a long stretch of silence, and then the other Mordred said, I don't think that you will, though. Cassie raised an eyebrow. Why is that? I am known to be a traitor. He seemed to consider his words for a while before answering. I'm not sure. My brother is certainly wary of you, but you don't seem like the devious, eerie, treacherous witch he described. She smiled. What do I seem like, then? The other Mordred seemed to smile back. You seem like you're trying your best. Hearing that, Cassie couldn't help but laugh. When her laughter died down, she fell silent for a few moments and then said in a neutral tone, To be honest, I am a bit devious and Lamb a bit eerie. Treacherous, that too, I think. I just hide it better than most, possibly better than anyone. She paused, then added, But I am really trying my best. Mordred studied her carefully and sighed. Someone told me recently that there comes a time when one must take a stand. I feel like you are at a point when you're ready to take yours as well. So, I don't think that you'll betray my brother, even if it benefits you, and no matter how much you hate him." Cassie reached forward and touched the mirror, tracing its frame with her fingers. Hate him? I never hated him. She drew her hand back. Was appalled by him? Yes. Was terrified by him? Yes. But hating him, it would have been hypocritical of me, considering all the things that I've done. She remained silent for a few moments and then added, "It's difficult to hate someone whom you understand, and in this whole wide world, I might be the only person who understands Mordred. Because I've seen his memories, most of them at least. I experienced all the things he had experienced, and saw every step he took to end up where he is today." What he is today? I witnessed him. Cassie smiled weakly. "I am still appalled by him, but I don't think I will ever be able to hate him or you. After all, the two of you come from the same source. The most important memories I saw are yours as well." She sighed deeply. "So, even if we are meeting for the first time, I can't treat you as a stranger." Mordred did not say anything, and all that met her was the darkness, as well as the feeling of the cold surface of the mirror under her fingers. Cassie raised a hand and pulled down her blindfold, revealing her empty, bleeding eye socket. "That is the real reason why I came to talk to you." Mordred? The other Mordred? The lesser Mordred? He smiled bitterly. The lesser Mordred? Well, I can't argue with that. But what exactly do you mean, Lady Cassia? She lingered with the answer. In the end, she shrugged. I lost the ability to see the future. But I can still predict it, even if I use deduction instead of precognition now. So call it a contingency of sorts. He seemed to have frowned. I still don't understand what you're talking about. Cassie raised an eyebrow. Don't you? The two of you used to be the same person, but your paths have diverged at some point. Since then, you were both locked in your own cell of solitude, each suffering his own banishment. Neither of you is whole, and while he detests you, you long for him, don't you? Just like you longed for your family, whose care and affection you had been denied. Mordred laughed bitterly. Oh, but he longs for me as well. He longs to destroy and absorb me, like he did the rest. It's just that he can't, because I carry his death. Quite a pair, aren't we? Cassie shook her head. It doesn't matter what he wants. I've spent so many days and suffered so much doing what he wanted, what he needed from me. What do you want? Mordred remained silent, so she spoke instead. I will tell you what I want. I want to remember where Sunny and Nephis are, so that I know when they will come back. I want them back so badly. But I can't because I erased my own memories of knowing that is a power of mine. To see, to know, to remember, or to forget. She drew in a slow breath. And now I have to confront the possibility that they won't come back in time, which means that I cannot rely on them to defeat the dream spawn, which means that I must defeat him myself. But he is so vast, and I am so small. When he pressed me down and took my eye, I couldn't even move. All my weapons are gone or broken, and all I'm left with is a tangled thread. Closing her one remaining eye, Cassie took a deep breath. How is Ariadne supposed to defeat the Minotaur without Theseus? Chapter 2904. Song of the Fallen. Cassie laughed quietly. Look, the dream spawn might have failed to infect me with the plague, but he certainly infected me with that damn metaphor. I just can't seem to get rid of it. She fell silent, and then forced out a smile. In any case, that is the reason why I am hesitating to betray your other self. It makes sense to ensure his rapid defeat to postpone the slaughter so that Sunny and Nephis could return and save everyone. But if I can't hide in their shadow anymore, then this is it. This is the end. There is no tomorrow and no hope if the King of Nothing is defeated. She laughed again. To tell you the truth, despite the fact that Mordred is watching my every step and listening to my every word, I still managed to fool him and build a trap for him, right under his nose. It was not that hard, actually. He is not as good at runic sorcery as I am, so even if he saw me create the array and read every rune, what was the point? He only understood enough of its general form to sate his suspicion. He didn't see, had no capacity to see the sharp knife I hid in the nuance, to drive it into his back at the right second and destroy him. The other Mordred stared at her from the mirror. After a long stretch of silence, he said in a subdued tone, "He was expecting you to manipulate his memories. He was so focused on creating countermeasures against your aspect that he missed the real threat." Cassie shrugged. "Naturally he did. That is the secret of magic. After all, attention, expectation, misdirection, the pledge, the turn, the prestige, what people see, what people cannot see. Like me, I am unseeing, and therefore remain unseen. And so they never see me coming." She smiled faintly. "Your other self was the only one who saw me for what I was, you know, and treated me with due diligence, but even he grew complacent after attaining supremacy. It is in the nature of the Supremes to be overconfident and arrogant, I think. So when he saw me covered in blood and trembling, a mere saint, he let his guard down, like I knew he would." She shrugged, like they all do. The other Mordred sighed, then said quietly, "But you are saying these things aloud, knowing that he is listening, which means that you have changed your mind in the end." Cassie let out a bitter laugh. "Have I? Yes, I guess I have just now." She raised her head and inhaled deeply. "Elle, I'm tired. I am at the end of my wits. I don't even recognize myself anymore, and not only because my own memories are missing. All this deviousness, all these schemes, all these calculations, it is not in my nature. I think I heard your other self mention once that he simply reflected the world back on itself, and was therefore shaped by the world into becoming an exceptional monster. But he had been exceptional to begin with. They all were. Children of legendary warriors, heirs of the gods born under fateful omens, raised and nurtured by the crushing pressure of unimaginable adversity." She smiled wistfully. "But I was just a normal girl. I had a normal childhood and normal parents. There wasn't anything exceptional about me until I was faced with exceptional challenges and was left with no choice but to rise to the occasion. So that was what I did, right or wrong. I made one small choice after another, each twisting my form a little more until I couldn't recognize it anymore. So who was really shaped by this cursed world into what they are today, between Mordred and me?" Cassie sighed and faced the mirror once more. "I used to believe that Sunny and Naphis would return and save the day, but if I'm honest with myself, it's all because of me. I set all of this in motion. I might have forgotten where they went, but I know that they left because of a message my past self had sent into the future. She must have had a plan. She must have had a vision." Cassie's expression hardened, turning colder and darker. "So now I choose to believe in myself. I choose to have faith in myself. I won't hope for their return anymore, so I will not betray your other self, because he is all I have, just like I am all he has. A couple of monsters forced to face a far more frightening abomination." She remained silent for a long while and then reached toward the mirror, tracing its cold surface with her fingers. Cassie raised her other hand and touched the blood-stained skin around her missing eye. "But we, at least, have each other. While you have nothing, are you envious of me because he needs me, while all you ever wanted was to be needed?" The other Mordred seemed to smile. "I don't think I am capable of feeling envy, to be honest. I can pretend to feel it, though, if you want." Cassie sighed. "He put you in the great mirror and kept you imprisoned there for so long. And still you long to be needed by him, appreciated by him, valued by him, because you think you love him. But how can you love him? You don't even know him." The other Mordred remained silent. She did as well, and then said quietly, "But you want to, don't you? To get to know him, to grow closer." Finally, he laughed. "So what is this? The pledge, the turn, or the prestige? Am I failing to see you as well, Lady Cassia?" She shrugged. "The greatest ruse is the one you cannot resist, even if you see it coming. But no, I am not here to deceive, manipulate, or use you. I simply want to give you what you want for no other reason than that I can. Now that our end might be drawing close, I wanted to do something good for once. without thinking about how it would benefit me. The other Mordret seemed to shake his head. Sounds exactly like something that a person planning to deceive, manipulate, and use me would say. Still, what is it exactly that you want to do? Cassie smiled weakly. I already said it, didn't I? My power is to see, to know, and to remember, or to forget. And ever since coming to the Ebony Tower, I've seen, I've gotten to know, and I remembered your other self. Everything there was to learn about the years when the two of you were one being, and most of what there was to learn about the years you were apart. It was like I was there, with him, up to the point when he attained supremacy, at least. After that, containing his memories becomes quite hard. The other Mordret, one who had been separated from the only remaining part of himself, hesitated, then asked in a confused tone, "Why are you telling me this? Are you taunting me, Lady Cassia?" She shook her head. "No, don't you understand? My power is to see, to know, and to remember, yes, but it is also to help the rest see, know, and remember. I am Song of the Fallen, after all. My fate is to sing about those I witnessed, not to bear the memory of them in silence. In other words, just like I took the memories of a lifetime spent alone from his mind, I can share them with you. I can help you experience all the things that he experienced, so that you come to know him." The other Mordret remained silent for a long while. Cassie waited for his response in the darkness, faced with only the coldness of the mirror under the fingers of her left hand and the hot, feverish slickness of her skin under the fingers of her right hand. Eventually he whispered, "Why would you do that for me?" She inhaled deeply. "It's because I cannot see the future anymore, but I can still predict it, and I predict that you might need these memories one day." He lingered for a few seconds, then said quietly, "No, that is not true. You're lying." He paused for a moment. "Instead, you think that you might need me to have these memories one day. Isn't that right, Lady Cassia?" She smiled. "Is there a difference?" He laughed bitterly. "I guess not." "Ah, it's peculiar." There was a long stretch of silence, but eventually he said, "I feel like I will regret taking you up on your offer. But at the same time, I know that I will regret it forever if I refuse it. In the end, all I will be left with is regret." Cassie lowered her head. "Still, it's better to regret something that you did than something that you could have done, but didn't. Believe me, I know that kind of torment well." The part of Mordred imprisoned in the mirror sighed heavily and fell silent. After a while, he asked, "So, what do I do?" Cassie leaned closer to the mirror until her face was almost pressed against it. "It's easy." She took a deep breath. "Just look me in the eye